Hi, to our planner applications. What we have built is a planner application which is a bot and works to Flock. It's a dialogue based recommender system. What does it means? So it's more or less like a assisted friend which you have in your Flock contact, to whom you could ask for to recommend you restaurants or to recommend any activities or events you want to go to, music events, dancing events, so on and so forth. So that's the brief idea. So we have developed this application using Node.js. So I will talk briefly about the source code organization. But before that, we'll just do a quick demo. So I'll search my bot over here, and we'll say something. Find coding and the bot kind of goes through its data sources, which in this case is Facebook and Google, and then it also kind of looks through your personal data, that what kind of events you have been attending, and based on that it gives a recommendation. And it's not like a fixed location or a fixed thing. You could say find cooking event in uh, spelling mistake. So the bot would again find cooking events for you and gives a rating. And of course, it's based on the available data we have. So in our case, we don't have any such data. So that's why we are kind of taking the data from Google and from Facebook. So we will take it up and we will figure out what's the best suitable item for you. And it's not just only events and any kind of things probably you would look around in a town. Uh, the planner bot service that kind of gives that you do. So say for example you say find in, um, it would search restaurants in Marathali also. As you know, I live nearby Marathali, so I just gave that a try. So the main idea is like you can find a restaurant in Pune, Mumbai, anything works, and it's not like restaurant. You could replace the term with like find me a dining place, so and so forth. And the main idea behind is that to move away from commands and work on natural language, and mainly because I don't remember command that very well, and you have to be like machine. But on the other hand, if you have NLP, it would just like the way you would talk to a friend. So now coming back to the application architecture, here is the main kind of so we have used it Node.js, as you can see from here. Just so we are using Node.js, and it's just a simple REST-based server that works and gets a post request from the Flock as we get app installed. And we are mainly dealing over here with chat dot receive message, that particular item. So as far our construction goes for the um, source code, so we have this Flock main, which is kind of the adapter, and there we have other adapters like main.js. So this one particularly works with bot framework, um, and this one works with Flock. So eventually it's the same thing. And then we have data query service, so which is kind of the adapter for the data sources. We have data sources from Facebook, from Google. We build it up together, um, and we use it. So then we will go into our recommendation system. So this is kind of a generic item, so which has kind of only one particular method, which is recommend items. What it takes is that the items that you have rated and the items I got from the global data set. So for example, when I'm searching for restaurants, right? So my items is would be like the restaurants that I have visited and I have rated, and the data set would be the entire data set or entire set of restaurants that's there in a Bangalore or in any other particular place. And yes, so we have again each for Google and for Facebook, they have different APIs, different formats. So we have built an adapter based on that, and it gets the data. So we have something called data query service, in which I give the basic things that I need for my query, which I, by the way, call from Flock main over here. um, yeah, so we just use the data query service to query the data. Now I will go back to the bit of the NLP part. So as you can see on the bot, it's not like you need to have a very specific structure or very specific keywords. You can tell find me a restaurant, or find me a dining place. That would also work um, in case of this system. I just show place Pune. Yep. So there we go. So we have used an NLP engine to do so. So the main idea behind the NLP engine is that so we have used Luis AI over here, which is from Microsoft. Let me just go downwards, downwards, downwards. Yep. So here we are using the Luis REST endpoint, where we are actually sending the message and getting the response back. So on the response side, we have intents like what I'm trying to do. Am I trying to find an event like it's a musical event or a cooking event or a coding event? Am I trying to find a restaurant? And based on that, they will have certain entities. So, and eventually through a dialog system, we'll just fill in all those missing piece of information. And when we finally get all this data, we'll run it through a recommender system. So for the recommender system, I'm going to describe briefly how it works. So here in this case, so we're using collaborative filtering. So here on the column, what you see is that kind of most of the times the warehouse items, how many items you have in your warehouse, and on the row, you have the items which you have visited or you have bought and rated. And of course, it's not like the blanks kind of suggest the things you haven't rated or you haven't bought. So this collaborative filtering is kind of gives a normalized probability for each of these metrics, and this is how the generic recommendation system works. But the upper column part for you see, which is D1, D2, D4, that is kind of most of the times defined by the web applications. Here we are defining it on our own, and of course U1, U2s we are getting from the Facebook or from the Google, the personal data of the user. The tricky part is one of the thing is to come with integer score. So you have one place which is there in the data set, and you have another place which you have visited. Now, how do you tell? How do you come to an integer in which you have place description, geolocation, and that kind of stuff? So for that, what we have used is what you call the similarity matrix. So we are defining a similarity between two items on a rate of 1 to 5. Like if the place is nearby to my location, well, I rate it as high. So that's overall about the demo. Yeah, you can take a look at the code base in the GitHub. Yep. So that's all. Thank you for listening.